Hi, my name is Scarlett Adams. I'm presenting today from the University of California, Santa Barbara on my project titled Main Character Syndrome. So I was able to complete this project or work on this project through the Robb Writing Fellowship that's offered here at UCSB. This project, or hearing about this fellowship, came to me at an interesting time during like the spring and summer quarter of last year. It had been my first year at UCSB because I was a transfer student from a community college. And essentially at the time, I had just been writing a lot, both academically and on a personal basis. I've been going through a lot of personal reflection and introspection at the time that had kind of really motivated me to start keeping a journal and like writing down almost like all of my thoughts, all of my experiences at the time. And then when I heard about this fellowship, I kind of realized that like I wanted to like delve further into this. Like I wanted to make my own writing or my own reflections into research. And so that's where the idea of main character syndrome came from. And essentially, it's a challenge to myself to retell my own personal stories, but from a different point of view. And it kind of is trying to look at writing as an active form of like taking over your own truth and the own truth of others and able to kind of detach from that situation and therefore like gain more clarity, more self-forgiveness, and also empathy for all other people. My research question obviously is going to be both academic and personal because it's a blend of both. And it's kind of how writing can be used as a form of both self-expression and as a vehicle towards self-forgiveness. And it also aims to kind of help the audience reflect on their own personal experience and how they can detach themselves from that in order to see it from another perspective in order to gain their own clarity. Hopefully like promoting more empathy and more perspective for them outside of their own. That plays on the matter of truth. That plays on the matter that truth is subjective and that your truth may not be the truth of another's. And this just leads us into being able to see, just kind of like make peace with your own past. It's using writing as healing, which I think is really cool and a really full circle thing for me towards the end of my undergraduate experience. So my method, I kind of just began on a whim, just trying to write, and then I realized like maybe I should do some research into like trying to interpret the perspective of another. So my approach with this initially is like an autoethnography, but I also decided I wanted to call it like a blend of autoethnography and fiction because I'm also, I'm trying to interpret or like figure out what another person's perspective might be, but I really don't know it because I'm not them. So that's where the whole blend of autoethnography and fiction comes in. And so I also, like upon doing like my initial research, I found this great podcast called Everything is Alive, and they were using they essentially like personify inanimate objects, which really inspired me to incorporate that into this project. So instead of being just human POVs, I'm also including places like apartments and houses and also inanimate objects. So this example that I included an excerpt of one of the essays is about a Rolex watch. It's a family heirloom, and I have a really personal like significance to that, but I wanted to write the story that I share with everyone from the point of view of the watch because I thought it would be a lot more fun for me, kind of like an inside joke with myself, and also it would give perspective to audiences as well and let them interpret the story how they want. And that's essentially what I want from this. I want people to interpret things differently and see kind of how truth can play out in different ways. And so in conclusion, I'm trying essentially with this research to redefine storytelling as an act of like increasing meaning to empower those to redefine and take over their own stories and how perspective can play both a negative and positive thing in their life and how you can kind of work to neutralize it by just accepting that perspective is always going to be varied. Perspective is always going to be different, and so is truth. So by being able to see past this and being able to see that like there's an abundance of truth around us, we can essentially learn to forgive ourselves and we can detach from the situation and gain empathy for others. And that is the research of main character syndrome. Thank you so much.